its valuation, arises from this physical feeling of presentational immediacy. It is the conceptual feeling of a region thus characterized. This is the aesthetic valuation proper to the bare objective datum of the presentational immediacy. But this valuation is less primitive than that gained from the conceptual prehension by symbolic transference. The primitive subjective form includes a valuation as though the contemporary region, by its own proper constitution, were causally effective on the percipient sub-483-ject. The secondary valuation is the aesthetic appreciation of the bare fact. This bare fact is merely that region, thus qualified. Thus the contemporary world, as felt through the senses, is valued for its own sake, by means of a later conceptual feeling, but it is also valued for its derivation from antecedent epi. To see, by means of transmutation from earlier conceptual feeling combined with derivate, physical purpose. But none of these operations can be segregated from nature into the subjective privacy of a mind. Mental and physical operations are incurably intertwined, and both issue into publicity, and are derived from publicity. The vector character of prehension is fundamental. Section 3. It is the mark of a high-grade organism to eliminate, by negative prehension, the irrelevant accidents in its environment, and to elicit massive attention to every variety of systematic order. For this purpose, the category of transmutation is the master principle. By its operation each nexus can be prehended in terms of the analogies among its own members, or in terms of analogies among the members of other nexes but yet relevant to it. In this way the organism in question suppresses the mere multiplicities of things, and designs its own contrasts. The canons of art are merely the expression, in specialized forms, of the requisites for depth of experience. The principles of morality are allied to the canons of art, in that they also express, in another connection, the same requisites. Owing to the principle that contemporary actual entities occur in relative independence, the nexes of contemporary actual entities are peculiarly favorable for this transference of systematic qualities from other nexes to themselves. For a difficulty arises in the operation of the category of transmuta. When a characteristic prevalent among the individual entities of one nexus is to be transferred to another nexus treated as a unity. The difficulty is that the individual actually are 484 ties of the recipient nexus are also 1 cf. My 3 Barber Page Lectures, Symbolism, at the University of Virginia, New York, Macmillan, 1927, and Cambridge University Press, 1928 T and also above, Part 2, ch. 8. 318, The Theory of Extension. Respectively objectified in the percipient subject by systematic characteristics which equally demand the transference to their own nexus, but this is the nexus which should be the recipient of the other transference. Thus there are competing qualities struggling to effect the objectification of the same nexus. The result is attenuation and elimination. When the recipient nexus is composed of entities contemporary with the percipient subject, this difficulty vanishes. For the contemporary entities do not enter into the constitution of the percipient subject by objectification through any of their own feelings. Thus their only direct connection with the subject is their implication in the same extensive scheme. Thus a nexus of actual entities, contemporary with the percipient subject, puts up no alternative characteristics to inhibit the transference to it of characteristics from antecedent nexes. A high-grade percipient is necessarily an occasion in the historic root of an enduring object. If this root is to propagate itself successfully into the future, it is above all things necessary that its decisions in the immediate occasion should have the closest relevance to the concurrent happenings among contemporary occasions. For these contemporary entities will, in the near future, form the immediate past for the future embodiment of the enduring object. This immediate past is of overwhelming influence, for all routes of transmission from the more remote past must pass through it. Thus the contemporary occasions tell nothing, and yet are of supreme importance for the survival of the enduring object. This gap in the experience of the percipient subject is bridged by presentational immediacy. This type of experience is the lesson of the past reflected into the present. The more important contemporary occasions are those in the near neighborhood. Their actual worlds, 485, are practically identical with that of the percipient subject. The percipient prehends the nexus of contemporary occasions by the mediation of eternal objects which it inherits from its own past. Also it selects the contemporary nexus thus prehended by the efficacy of strains whose focal regions are important elements in the past of those nexus. Thus, for successful organisms, presentational immediacy, though it yields no direct experience about the contemporary world, and though in unfortunate instances the experience which it does yield may be irrelevant, does yield experience which expresses how the contemporary world has in fact emerged from its own past. Presentational immediacy works on the principle that it is better to obtain information about the contemporary world, even if occasionally it be misleading. Section IV. Depth of experience is gained by concentrating emphasis on the systematic structural systems in the environment, and discarding individual variations. Every element of systematic structure is emphasized, every strains. 319 individual aberration is pushed into the background. The variety sought is the variety of structures, and never the variety of individuals. For example, we neglect empty space in comparison with the structural systematic nexus which is the historic root of an enduring object. In every possible way, the more advanced organisms simplify their experience so as to emphasize those nexus with some element of tightness of systematic structure. In pursuance of this principle, the regions, geometricized by the various strains in such an organism, not only lie in the contemporary world, but they coalesce so as to emphasize one unified locus in the contemporary world. This selected locus is penetrated by the straight lines, the planes, and the three dimensional flat loci associated with the strains. This is the LS train locus belonging to an occasion in the history of an enduring object. 486. This occasion is the immediate percipient subject under consider tion. Each such occasion has its one strain locus which serves for all its strains. The focal regions of the various strains all lie within this strain locus, and are in general distinct. But the strain locus as a whole is common to all the strains. Each occasion lies in its own strain locus. The meaning of THCTCRM, rest, is THC relation of an occasion to its strain tilde locus, if there be one. An occasion with no unified strain tilde locus has no dominating locus with which it can have the relationship of rest. An occasion rests in its strain locus. This is why it is nonsense to ask of an occasion in empty space whether it be at rest in reference to some locus. 4. Since such occasions have no strain loci, the relationship of rest does not apply to them. The strain locus is the locus which is thoroughly geotildemetricized by the strain feelings of the percipient occasion. It must have the property of being continent of straight lines, and of flat loci of all dimensions. Thus its boundaries would be three-dimensional T-flat loci, non-intersecting. A strain tilde locus approximates to a three-dimensional flat locus, but in fact it is four-dimensional, with a time thickness. Section B. Reviewing the discussion in the preceding sections of this chapter and of Chapter 4 of Part 2, we note that, in reference to any one actual occasion M, 7 D. Section 8T distinct considerations define loci composed of other actual occasions. In the first place, there are three loci defined by causal efficacy, namely, the causal past of M, the causal future of M, and the contemporaries of M. An actual occasion P, B tilde belonging to M's causal past, is objectified for M by a perspective representation of its own, i.e., P's qualities of feeling and intensities of feeling. There is a quantitative and qualitative vector flow of feeling from P to M, and in this way, what P is subjectively belongs to M objectively. And 487 actual occasion Q, belonging to M's causal future, is in the converse relation to M, compared to P's relation. For the causal future is composed of those actual occasions which will have M in their respective causal pasts. T. The theory of extension. 320. Actual occasions grand S, T which are contemporary with M, are those actual occasions which lie neither in M's causal past, nor in M's causal future. The peculiarity of the locus of contemporaries of M is that any two of its members, such as grand S, need not be contemporaries of each other. They may be mutually contemporaries, but not necessarily. It is evident from the form of the definition of T contemporary, that if R be contemporary with M, then M is contemporary with R. This peculiarity of the locus of M's contemporaries that rand S may be both contemporaries of M, but not contemporaries of each other points to another set of loci. A T duration is a locus of actual occasions, such that X any two members of the locus are contemporaries, and F3 that any actual occasion, not belonging to the duration, is in the causal past or causal future of some members of the duration. A duration is a complete locus of actual occasions in unison of becoming, or in T-concrescent unison. It is the old-fashioned T-present state of the world. In reference to a given duration, D, the actual world is divided into three mutually exclusive loci. One of these loci is the duration D itself. Another of these loci is composed of actual occasions which lie in the past of some members of D. This locus is the T-past of the duration D. The remaining locus is composed of actual occasions which lie in the future of some members of D. This locus is the T-future of the duration D. By its definition, a duration which contains an occasion mount must lie within the locus of the contemporaries of M. According to the classical pre-relativistic notions of time, there would be only one duration including M, and it would contain all M's contemporaries. According to modern relativistic views, we must admit that there are many durations including M. In fact, an infinite 488 number, so that no one of them contains all M's contemporaries. Thus the past of a duration D includes the whole past of any actual occasion belonging to D, such as M for example, and it also includes some of M's contemporaries. Also the future of the duration D includes the whole future of M, and also includes some of M's contemporaries. So far, starting from an actual occasion M, we find 6 loci, or types of loci, defined purely in terms of notions derived from T-causal efficacy. These loci are M's causal past, M's causal future, M's contemporaries, the set of durations defined by M, and finally, taking any one such duration which we call D as typical, there is D's past, and D's future. Thus there are the 3 definite loci, the causal past, the causal future, plus and the contemporaries, which are defined uniquely by M, and there are the set of durations defined by M, and the set of T-durational pasts and the set of T-durational futures. The paradox which has been introduced by the modern theory of relativity is twofold. First, the actual occasion M does not, as a general characteristic of all actual occasions, define a unique duration, and secondly, T such a unique duration, if defined, does not include all the contemporaries of M. Strains 321. But among the set of durations, there may be one with a unique association with M. For the mode of presentational immediacy objectifies for mount the actual occasions within one particular duration. This is the presented duration. Such a presented duration is an inherent factor in the character of an enduring physical object. It is practically identical with the strain locus. This locus is the reason why there is a certain absoluteness in the notions of rest, velocity, and acceleration. For this presented duration is the spatialized world in which the physical object is at rest, at least momentarily for its occasion M. This spatialized world is objectified for M by M's own conditioned range of feeling tones which have been inherited from the causal past of the actual occasion, 489, in question, namely, of M. Thus the presented duration is with peculiar vividness part of the character of the actual occasion. A historic root of actual occasions, T each with its presented duration, constitutes a physical object. Our partial consciousness of the objectifications of the presented duration constitutes our knowledge of the present world, so far as it is derived from the senses. Remembering that objectifications constitute the objective conditions from which an actual occasion M initiates its successive phases of feeling, we must admit that, in the most general sense, the objectifications express the causality by which the external world fashions the actual occasion in question. Thus the objectifications of the presented duration represent a recovery by its contemporaries of a very real efficacy in the determination of M. It is true that the eternal objects which effect this objectification belong to the feeling tones which M derives from the past. but it is a past which is largely common to M and to the presented duration. Thus by the intermediacy of the past, the presented duration has its efficacy in the production of M. This efficacy does not derogate from the principle of the independence of contemporary occasions. For the contemporary occasions in the presented duration are only efficacious through the feeling tones of their sources, and not through their own immediate feeling tones. Thus insofar as Bergson ascribes the spatialization of the world to a distortion introduced by the intellect, he is in error. This spatialization is a real factor in the physical constitution of every actual occasion belonging to the life historid of an enduring physical object. For actual occasions in so-called empty space, there is no reason to believe that any duration has been singled out for spatialization, that is to say, that physical perception in the mode of presentational immediacy is negligible for such occasions. The reality of the rest and the motion of enduring physical objects depends on this spatializa, 490tion for occasions in their historic roots. The presented duration is the duration in respect to which the enduring object is momentarily at rest. It is that duration which is the strain locus of that occasion in the life history of the enduring object. Chapter versus measurement. Section I. 491J. The identification of the strain locus with a duration is only an approximation based upon empirical evidence. Their definitions are entirely different. A duration is a complete set of actual occasions, such that all the members are mutually contemporary one with the other. This property is expressed by the statement that the members enjoy unison of immediacy. The completeness consists in the fact that no other actual occasion can be added to the set without loss of this unison of immediacy. Every occasion outside the set is in the past or in the future of some members of the set, and is contemporary with other members of the set. According as an occasion is in the past, or the future, of some members of a duration, the occasion is said to be in the past, or in the future, of that duration. No occasion can be both in the past and in the future of a duration. Thus a duration forms a barrier in the world between its past and its future. Any root of occasions, in which adjacent members are contiguous, and such that it includes members of the past, and members of the future, of a duration, must also include one or more members of that duration. This is the notion of a duration, which has already been explained p. Part 2, ch. iv, sex, vin and ix. The definition of a strain locus d. Previous chapter depends entirely on the geometrical elements which are the elements of geometric form in the objectification of a nexus including the exvariant occasion in question. These 492 elements are I a set of points within the volume of the regional standpoint of the exvariant occasion, and E the set of straight lines defined by all the pairs of these points. The set of points is the C of the strain, the set of straight lines is the set of projectors. The complete region penetrated by the projectors is the strain locus. A strain locus is bounded by two flat, three-dimensional surfaces. When some members of the seat have a special function in the strain feeling, the projectors which join pairs of these points may define a subordinate region in the strain locus. This subordinate region is termed the focal region. The strain loci in the present epoch seem to be confined to the contemporaries of their experient occasions. In fact, strain loci occur as essential components for perception in the mode of presentational immediacy. 322. Measurement. 323. In this mode of perception there is a unique strain locus for each such experience. Rest and motion are definable by reference to real strain loci, and to potential strain loci. Thus the molecules, forming material bodies for which the science of dynamics is important, may be presumed to have unique strain loci associated with their prehensions. This recapitulation of the theories of durations and strain loci brings out the entire disconnection of their definitions. There is no reason, derivable from these definitions, why there should be any close association between the strain locus of an experient occasion and any duration including that occasion among its members. It is an empirical fact that mankind invariably conceives the presented world as consisting of such a duration. This is the contemporary world as immediately perceived by the senses. But close association does not necessarily involve unqualified identification. It is permissible, in framing a cosmology to accord with scientific theory, to assume that the associated pair, strain locus and presented duration, do not involve one and the same extensive region. From the point of view of conscious per 493 section, the divergence may be negligible, though important for scientific theory. Section 2. Set notions which have led to the phraseology characterizing the T-pro_JECTED, sensa as secondary qualities, arise out of a fundamental difference between strain loci and their associated, presented durations. A strain locus is entirely determined by the experient in question. It extends beyond that experient indefinitely, although defined by geometrical elements entirely within the extensive region which is the standpoint of the experient. The seat of the strain locus, which is a set of points within this region, is sufficient to effect this definition of the complete strain locus by the aid of the straight lines termed the projectors. These straight lines are nexes whose geometrical relations are forms ingredient in a strain peeling with these nexes as data. Presentational immediacy arises from the integration of a strain peeling and a physical purpose, so that, by the category of transmutation, the sensum involved in the T-physical purpose, is projected onto some external focal region defined by projectors. It is to be noted that this doctrine of presentational immediacy and of the strain locus entirely depends upon a definition of straight lines in terms of mere extensiveness. If the definition depends upon the actual physical occasions beyond the experient should find the actual physical structures of his environment a block, or an assistance, to his projection, to focal regions beyond them. The projection of sensa in presentational immediacy depends entirely upon the state of the brain and upon systematic geometrical relations characterizing the brain. How the brain is excited, whether by visual stimuli through the eye, or by auditory stimuli through the ear, or by the excessive consumption of alcohol, or by histor. 324. The theory of extension. Eichal emotion is completely indifferent, granted the proper excitement of the brain, The X variant will per 494 see some definite contemporary region illustrated by the projected sensa. The indifference of presentation